Welcome, Luck Dragons, to Geek Salad's Retro Movie Reviews from the Geek Salad Podcast. I'm Andy.
I'm Mike, and Luck Dragons is a never-ending story.
I know that. I couldn't think of anything else.
Water Dragon.
I don't want to spoil anything because the term. I gotta also fix my camera here. We're using the term retro movie review for a movie that came out a week ago. And we are discussing, and we're going to keep this as spoiler-free as humanly possible, Raya and the Last Dragon. So, Patrick to everybody.
Yeah.
Hey, you're
wearing the only green shirt I have.
Oh, good. Yeah, so over the last week, Disney Plus released this as part of their premium package. So I watched it at home with my family. Still cheaper than taking them to the movies, which is good because we haven't been to a movie in over a year. And Mike, you got to see it in the theater.
I did. At the AMC in Tingsboro, which is about 45 minutes from me here. That's the only theater, that's the closest theater to me that's actually open. And it's only open on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So last Friday afternoon, I decided to drive up because I wanted to see this movie. I've been wanting to see this since D23 in 2019.
Awesome. How did it look? I mean, well, I have a lot of questions about. I'm sure that looked beautiful on the big screen.
Absolutely.
How did you feel? Because you're kind of like me, where you haven't really done a whole lot. Since this whole thing began.
I mean, it was kind of nice that there were only literally 4 other people in the theater.
Yeah.
With me, there was a mother and her baby son. Not baby, but toddler son. Yeah. And the 2 seats in front of me and the 2 seats in front of them were a couple. So
okay. So you're blowing your own air forward. I'm assuming they're not allowing for concessions.
No, actually they did have concessions.
Really? Okay.
Most of their stuff is most of the stuff is prepackaged.
Right. So no one's digging in for popcorn or anything though?
Exactly, yeah.
I go to the movies.
I mean, there was still popcorn, but it was already full of containers.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, whatever. I'll wait. Well, that's pretty interesting. I would have loved, because I remember you had seen a preview for this like 2 years ago at D23, right?
Yeah, that was actually that was when they officially announced the movie.
Right.
And they showed some it wasn't really a preview. It was more like a sizzle reel. It had some animation that they'd done and like a little teaser that wasn't in the movie, but it was still funny. And some of the shots they showed, even back then, of water and rain on falling on leaves.
Yeah.
I just watched that, and John was sitting next to me. I leaned over, and was like, "Is that animation or is that real?" I couldn't tell. It was that good.
Yeah.
Seriously, between Moana, Frozen 2, and this movie, their water animation is unsurpassed.
It is. It absolutely is. It looks like real water. You know what the funny thing is that you mentioned seeing footage just 2 years ago. As we learned from watching the 5-part documentary series on Disney Plus about the making of Frozen 2, it's never done until like weeks before its release.
Yeah.
And in fact, the majority of the animation work actually happens like within the last 6 months of production.
I mean, hell, when they announced it at D23, they brought out Awkwafina and Cassie Steele, because Cassie Steele was the voice of Raya at the time. Yeah. And like 3 or 4 months after that, they switched it up and cast Kelly Marie Tran.
Right. Who I thought did a fantastic job.
Oh, absolutely. The voice cast I thought was phenomenal.
Outside of Alan Tudyk, it is a 100% Asian cast.
And Alan Tudyk, I didn't even realize it was him until I saw the credits.
Yeah, I had IMDb up because we watched it from home. That wasn't disturbing anybody. It was like, who's that? So yeah, it was interesting because for a few minutes I didn't recognize that Benedict Wong had done one of the voices.
Oh yeah, I mean, I recognized Kelly Marie Tran and Awkwafina because I knew who they were. But beyond that, the only voice I recognized was Daniel Day Kim.
Now, what do you know him from? Because you didn't watch Lost, did you?
I watched like the first season and a half of Lost.
Okay, all right.
And I've seen a few episodes of Hawaii Five-0.
Okay, that's before I met you, so it's or at least Lost was. Hawaii Five-0 is it's on CBS, and we're young men, so we don't watch CBS.
I saw the episodes that they crossed over with MacGyver.
Oh, okay.
I do enjoy MacGyver. I'm not gonna lie.
I feel like it's interesting. We bring in Alan Tudyk playing a nonverbal character that just makes like grunts and animal noises. Considering that, the movie that I think most people are comparing this to, Moana, he did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot about Moana. Like, I could see influence from Moana in Raya. A lot of the basic character designs. You mentioned the water.
Yeah.
The water animation. A lot of the narrative animation, the stuff that was there to tell a story about, like the prologue.
Yeah.
Which, won't be giving anything away. The prologue is about this kind of scourge that hit the earth and turned everybody that it happened against into these stone, almost like those terracotta.
Yeah, they all.
Yeah,
like
they're all they're all hands out.
Yeah,
and like they're begging, and the animation for that is very, very similar to the opening animation for Moana, where the grandmother is telling the story of how Maui stole the heart of Te Fiti.
Yeah.
But I mentioned like the length of time it takes to animate a movie, because on Disney Plus there are extras. And that a lot of it has to do with the fact that they did most of this movie at home.
Yeah.
Using their own computing systems and.
Yeah. While I was at the theater before the movie, they played like a little thing from all the cast, and they were like the directors were saying how much most of this movie was done at home.
Yeah,
that just makes it all the more impressive, honestly.
Right, it does. Like they showed the kid was there just going into a closet to do his lines.
Yeah.
Good idea, by the way. I don't have closets big enough for me to do that here, but it was just really interesting because at the end of the day, it still looks like a Disney movie.
Yes,
it still feels. It's got that Disney magic to it.
Yeah,
and like that modern Disney magic for all of these newer films, which I really appreciate.
Yeah. I also love that, much like Moana, the movie is not about a romance.
Right.
It's more about, the main heroine trying to find her place in the world, really.
Yeah.
Basically. And try to save the world at the same time.
She's just trying to do what everybody needs her to do.
Yeah.
Which is to save people. And it is an interesting story that they kind of bring on characters.
Yeah.
Throughout the movie. You start with Raya. And then you get into characters like Sisu, the dragon. It surprised me, and again, not trying to spoil anything here. It surprised me how early on we got the dragon.
Yeah. I mean, if I had like one main criticism for this movie, is that
I'm listening. Grab my phone. Yep.
For me, the first 10-15 minutes up until actually even past the introduction of Sisu, up until Sisu and Raya kind of go on their first adventure together.
Yeah.
The movie felt kind of rushed. They threw a lot of information in. They this rush through it to get Raya and Sisu together, and then the movie starts, really.
Yeah, I agree with that. I can agree also because I don't feel like, we spent enough time in really any of the lands.
Yeah.
We got a taste for it. And I found it very interesting, and actually I kind of welcomed the fact that it didn't take place in an actual Asian country.
Yeah.
It's just this fantasy Asia that takes that borrows a lot from various Asian cultures. I don't feel like it appropriates anything. Oh, hey there.
Yeah. Keep talking.
Oh, okay.
I got my own sisu here.
I feel like my larger issue with this movie, quite honestly, and what kind of prevents it from being perfect, is just it is very anachronistic. It's very anachronistic in the dialogue very early on. And I understand that you're using that as a device to get kids to kind of give a crap and get them to invest in these characters before you get the main meat of the story going. But like, it's like Sisu is essentially taking all of the stuff that we remember from the genie and from Mushu in Mulan.
I mean, she does very much play a comedic part of this movie. Not. I mean, I think it wasn't over the top comedic. I think it was enough comedic for me. I think Bone, the character, the little kid character.
I'm pulling it up right now.
It's Boun. Yeah. I think he was a comedic character. He was more of a comedic character than Sisu.
Yeah.
But again, it with him, it got a little bit close to like over the top, but for me, it never quite hit there.
Right.
Give me a second. My cat wants to go out and pump and fix.
Sure. You do that. I'll discuss. I felt like Boone was kind of like there was that kid in Moana, the very beginning during the There You Are montage, where she's teaching. Moana's teaching the kids how to do all the traditional dances, and then you get that one kid with the eyebrow that keeps like, I kind of feel like if that kid had a story, it was Boone's story. And they essentially just transplanted him from one movie to another. And I feel like, even spoiler free, we're going to be referencing Moana a lot.
I would kind of agree with you. Maybe not so much Sisu, because I guess she verged on anachronistic, but she never quite went over it for me. It's more Boone. I think he was a little bit more anachronistic than she was.
Yeah. It didn't kill the vibe of the movie for me. It wasn't, quite honestly, it wasn't like a DreamWorks or an Illumination movie where that's all it is. It's nothing but pop culture references that have already been dated. It worked. I mean, overall, I think this movie works really, really well. I wasn't offended paying to watch this this movie. I wouldn't have minded if I took the kids to see this in the theater. This was a well made movie. It looks good. The music has its moments. The James Newton Howard score has its moments. And it's almost like I keep going back to the beauty of this movie. The movie itself looks beautiful.
Oh yeah, absolutely stunning.
Right.
I mean, each movie along, like I was saying before, each movie along, it just looks better and better.
I agree. I think that realistically, I would recommend this movie to anybody who has not yet seen it. I'm sure that in a couple months, Disney Plus is going to just remove the premium tag on it. And we'll kind of see where it goes. You had mentioned kind of offline that you would have liked to have seen this more like as a series, like a Disney Plus mini series.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I was saying, a lot of it felt, not a lot of it, but there were several moments that felt rushed beginning.
Yeah.
And then a few parts were out. And, you said you would have liked to have see more of a taste of the different lands.
Yeah,
I thought I would have loved to see I think Spine and Talon. I thought could have been really interesting.
I agree. I
But
absolutely agree.
but I mean, yeah. So I mean, if we had like maybe each each time that she went to a new land, it was a new episode. So maybe like 4 or 5 episodes. So not necessarily a huge length more
Yeah,
addition, but it just with the animated short at the beginning, the whole thing it was probably maybe an hour and a half. I think an hour 45 would have been
the
much
movie
better
itself
suit.
is just a skosh over an hour and a half, I think.
Yeah, I
Um,
think an extra 15 minutes or so would have been made a world of difference.
yeah, yeah, I agree with that. I don't know. It's interesting because it's like the stuff in between, like the connective tissue in between the lands.
Mm.
I don't know how much more of it we needed.
Yeah, no,
But
those parts were perfect.
Yeah, but I do feel that we could have done more with the actual land itself and seen more of it.
And I I was hoping for something more from. I guess you could say this is like a minor spoiler, but not really. I thought we were going to get more from Nemuri's mother.
Yeah, we
It,
didn't.
it 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 seemed like they were setting something up, and then it felt like a scene got cut that would have been pretty interesting.
Right, right. It's surprising too because that's Sandra Oh, so she's one of the larger names in this cast.
I thought she was effective, but I think there was something more planned that just got cut.
Right. And now the question to that too could just be they kind of had a date set for this, and then had to pull back and make decisions based on everyone having to work from home. So I kind of have a feeling that when this thing like gets like a I hate to use the term proper release. We've both seen it. It's been released.
Yes.
But when it gets like that home video release, or when they expand it out on Disney Plus, when they start getting more features that they want to throw in there, we'll probably get some storyboarded cutscenes.
Yeah.
And we might actually get a lot of them, mainly because I really feel, to your point about it being short, they probably just weren't able. They got a working cut that was good enough.
Yeah. Yeah. But even that being said, I agree with you. I think it was absolutely worth my time. It is gorgeously done. The characters are charming and fun. It was worth my time driving, and it was worth my money.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I agree. I enjoyed it. I will watch it again. I'm going to pay $30 and watch whatever the hell I want now.
I'll probably buy it.
I think it's going to warrant a second viewing.
Yeah.
It's weird because we did the 30 for Mulan, and we've only watched it the one time. You still haven't seen it, have you?
Yeah, no, I haven't. And I was really excited for it too.
I know you were. It's free now on Disney Plus. You don't have to
I know.
So you can watch it then.
Yeah. But I have to watch Cars first.
Yeah, we do have to get around to that, don't we? That's next. Folks, we promise you that'll be next week.
Yeah.
Even though I have to find time between now and the time of my death to fit in 4 hours of the Snyder Cut. I do it for you people. Yeah. Don't give me that. I'm like I'm the only one of us who watched Catwoman. So.
Hey, that was on you. All right.
That was on me. Yeah. But, I'm looking forward to seeing kind of the overall impact that Raya has. This is Disney, because this is Disney Animation Studios' first kick at the home video, the home streaming can. And my hope is it's the last. I really hope that by the time... Do you know what their next movie is?
I have no idea. I know they've announced them like some untitled things, but I mean, even with the trailers for the movie, the only one that I was interested in was Luca, which is the next Pixar one.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a little lukewarm on Luca, and
I mean, we've only seen that little
we've
tidbit.
only seen that little bit, and I think I'm still trying to wrap my head around the character design. I'm not in love with it.
Yeah.
Um,
It's almost Popeye-esque. Kind of.
Almost, but Pixar's done such a good job of creating or making humans look like humans, or even like caricaturistic human beings. These just look a little off to me, and it could just be me. I've only watched the trailer once, so we'll see. Also, and I was listening to Tom and Alex on Movies After Work talk about the trailer, and it's like whatever we just saw in the trailer has nothing to do with the actual movie. That's the Pixar ploy.
I mean, that's fair. They
It's
do things
dark.
like that. I'm looking up.
Okay.
No. So I'm sorry. I'm looking through the Walt Disney Studios.
Yeah.
Trying to find what's next.
I'm hoping that we get to that point because it feels like at some point very soon the light is at the end of the tunnel, and it would be nice to be able to take the family to see a Disney movie in the theater, or what's actually I'm very curious about too is Raya's presence in the park. I'd say park, even though Disneyland is opening up the end of April.
Yes, April 30th, I believe.
Excellent. So hopefully our good friend is back working there. I really hope so.
I hope so too.
I hope so, very much so. And I'm very curious if Raya's got any sort of presence. I'm sure we could ask our friend Julie if she knows.
I mean, I doubt there's anything right now.
They do tend to sit on that. 'Cause I remember we were in Disney. Well, we were at Disney right after Zootopia launched, and there was nothing for Zootopia there.
Oh, I was there when Zootopia launched.
Right.
And all I could find was a little pin. That is the only thing I found. Yeah. But again, that was literally I left the theater and went to Disney World.
Right. Well, they were also gearing up for Finding Dory as well that first time I had gone back.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Like in 2017 when we went, they were more gearing up for the live action Beauty and the Beast.
Yep.
And then last year, what was the big release last year? Frozen 2 was like was the big release last year. That wasn't until the end of the year, so they didn't really have much of anything. And I'm trying to remember what the Pixar release was that year.
Frozen
19. It was Toy Story 4.
Oh yeah, and so I mean, Toy Story. It's not hard to merchandise Toy Story.
Dedicated to Toy Story.
Yeah, I did find what their next movie is going to be. Oh, supposedly, it's coming out November 24th.
Okay.
And it's a movie called Encanto.
Oh, you know what? I saw a teaser trailer for that, and it tells you nothing about the movie at all.
Yeah. There's like a little plot synopsis on Wikipedia, but it's an early plot synopsis which basically tells nothing.
Okay. So let's talk because we kind of. You already thought the other thoughts you had about Raya before we just move on to our next subject?
I think the message was really, really good and really, really timely as well.
About sacrificing yourself for the greater good?
No, about if Raya says, the world is broken, you can't trust anybody, and Sisu says maybe the world is broken because you can't trust anybody. And basically the movie is all about trust.
It is. It absolutely is, especially because we see a lot of rogues in this movie that not to give away too much, but it garners a thumbs up from both of us. Definitely check that out. And because we knew this was going to run a little short because we really couldn't get into like a really deep dive of this, I just wanted to bring up kind of just based on our Disney talk that we've been having seemingly forever now. Is that this week or last week, rather, the Academy Awards were announced. Actually, I think it was Monday. I've lost.
I think it is Monday.
I've legitimately lost all track of time. It's also been the longest week ever. But yeah, so this week the Academy Awards were announced, and Disney Pixar picked up 2 animation nods for movies we've not yet reviewed, but will be in our Pixar deep dive. Onward and Soul were both nominated for best feature length animated film. Onward was actually the last movie prior to Raya. You saw in the theater, right?
Yeah, I saw Raya exactly 1 year and 6 days after I last was in theater seeing Onward.
Wow. Yeah, we were going to, the weekend that everything shut down was the weekend we were going to go see Onward. And I mean, we didn't have to wait that long, like 3 weeks.
Yeah, they pushed it to
the quarantine. They were like, okay, you got $30 on you? Good. I'll take that. Here, watch Onward. But it wasn't through Disney. We ended up getting it through Movies Anywhere.
Oh, yeah, because I was like, I didn't think Disney Plus charged for Onward. I think they released it like maybe a month or two after.
A month after I think it was a month or 2 months after the digital release was made available, which is how we picked it up. We were able, it was on Disney Plus, and Soul was just direct to Disney Plus. It wasn't even. What surprised me that wasn't premium. I mean, it could have just been, it's a Christmas gift for you. Enjoy.
It might have been, yeah.
And it also came out the same day as Wonder Woman 1984.
Oh.
So there was no extra fee for Wonder Woman. It was just part of the HBO Max package. So I could understand that was just like, well, we could charge them $30 or we could ride this out. Both are good movies. Both will get their time in the sun here at Geek Salad when we discuss them.
Yeah.
You're not gonna lie. This is Soul's race to lose, pretty much.
I mean, I haven't seen Soul yet, but I agree with you. I loved Onward. I thought Onward was phenomenal.
I'll be 100% honest with you. I think Onward was the better movie.
I mean, I can't vouch for that, but just
right.
Just from the trailers, I think Soul just.
And you're dealing with the Pixar trailer.
Yeah.
Not reveal all of the story, so I can't spoil. I can't spoil it for you. I can't put into words realistically what irks me about this movie. And it's, I think a lot of people that have discussed the movie prior to it coming out saw it coming. I don't know if you did or not. I'm not going to gauge that just because I don't want to spoil it for you. So you need to watch it like after you watch Cars Palate Cleanse. All right, please. It is good. It is a very good movie, and if it wins the animated Oscar, good. You deserved it. I just kind of where I'm at right now, and where our family is at right now. I kind of liked Onward. Just speaks to me a little more.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. It is. I mean, we'll get into it when we actually cover Onward. And we will.
Which will be in a few months if we don't put everything else off. It's just putting everything off because I don't want to watch Cars. Damn
it. No. You see, I Cars is not my favorite, but I'm willing to watch it. It's going to be hard when we have to get around to watching Cars 2.
Yeah.
Or the Mater Show, as I've heard.
Well, the funny thing is, Mike, if you think about it, we don't have a lot of movies to talk about in between Cars and Cars 2 because we did The Incredibles already.
Yeah.
Or actually, no, it's not even The Incredibles we did. We did Ratatouille. Or we haven't done WALL-E yet. We haven't done Up. We haven't done Toy Story 3. 3 in between because then 2011 is Cars 2.
Oh.
Steal yourself.
And And then we have Monsters University.
If you want my thoughts on Monsters University, go listen to the 2-part episode that I guested on with Tom and Alex on Movies After Work.
Or keep watching our channel.
Oh, yes, exactly. With our good friend Jeanette, because we talked about it. We talked about it, and I'm not nearly as hard on that movie as I am on some, and we'll discuss.
Yeah.
We'll discuss. We are getting to like the Pixar weird time.
Yeah. We also are gonna have to tackle Good Dinosaur.
We are. Yeah. So anyway, what did you watch Raya and the Last Dragon already? If you have, let us know what you thought about it by leaving a polite comment below. Don't forget to give us a big thumbs up. Subscribe. We offer shows every week here. Usually it's Mike and I talking about movies. Usually every week, if not every other week, we discuss records. Myself, along with our co-host Joe and Todd and Jim, talk all about records. We are coming back tomorrow to discuss the Police's Zenyatta Montada, which is a phenomenal album.
I was wondering how long it would take for you to get the Police album.
Not long at all, quite honestly.
I'm surprised it took this long, actually.
Well, yeah, it is, but got to talk about it. So check that out. Mike and I also host a little podcast called Geek Salad that you can get wherever you get your podcasts. So Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify, blah, 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 blah. They're all there. So check that out. Follow us on social media. We are most active on Twitter at Geek Salad Radio. And we are also on Facebook at Geek Salad Podcast. And if you're feeling like you want to support us, check out our merch store at TeePublic, which is teepublic.com, and then use the keyword Geek Salad Podcast to find all of your stuff. I promise at some juncture I will come up with new stuff. I just have been loaded at work. Busy man. So, and then when I get done with work, I'm either recording or I'm resting. This is like one of the two things now. So,
yeah. Now go rest.
Yes, I gotta go rest. I didn't sleep at all the last couple of nights. Last night was the first good night's sleep I've had in like 3 days. So I am looking forward to doing that again this evening. Yeah, I'll try to. So anyway, join us next week when I think we're gonna be doing Cars. Ka-chow.
No, come on. Ka-chow.
Ka-chow. What's your name, little racer? Barbara.
Ka-chow.
All right. So anyway, until next time, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
Go forth and be nerdful.